TikTok Rave Kits, a mystery grab bag type product that's catered towards the rave community, full of bright, colored plastic trinkets and essentials for partying and other less legal activities. Sold by Alyssalen, also known as Abstract Rave Kits on TikTok, these boxes are advertised as 70% handmade items from small businesses and 30% quote-unquote plastic items like you'd get from the dentist. These videos caused quite an uproar when they were first shared on TikTok a few years ago, as people were beyond confused about the huge price versus the plastic junk that was shown to be included in each order. You all know the story by now. When someone suspects a shady reseller lying about the quality or source of their items, they tag me. I'm essentially Batman if he was autistic and lacked any actual useful skills. I investigate TikTok stores and post videos breaking down the source, quality, and pricing of their products to educate buyers on what they are actually purchasing. Sometimes, the sellers highlighted in these videos respond in a less than tasteworthy way. Other times, they take the constructive criticism to evolve their store to be more attractive to the consumers. This case was an interesting mixture of the two. Let's go through my original video on these rave kits and see what people were so mad about. Before I start though, I will just do a quick explanation of what a rave actually is for those who are chronically online or simply just unaware of the culture. A rave is a large, often all-night event typically featuring DJs and small music artists and light shows. They center around electronic dance music, EDM, like techno or drum and bass. More common in the USA, there's a large rave culture surrounding these events, which blends youth social aspects, political beliefs, and music together with an emphasis on creating a community and energetic atmosphere. Raves are also often heavily linked with illicit drug use, but this is not always present. Raves are centered around plur culture, which stands for peace, love, unity, and respect, a set of principles that is central to the subculture and guides how people interact with each other. A large aspect of plur is trading culture, which encourages people to create or find little trinkets, artworks, often candy jewelry, as a physical manifestation of plur, as well as a piece of evidence for the love and unity and community that they found at this event.
Sorry, I just farted.
No, one more, sorry.
Never mind, it was a shart.
There's often a very heavy focus on the handmade aspect, as choosing individuals to trade a custom heartfelt design with represents their love and unity within plur. For example, if you've just met somebody, like a teenage girl, this is her first rave, she's wearing a great purple outfit, and you know, hey, I have a custom bracelet on my arm right now that is purple, it would look so good on her, and I would like to just welcome her into the community, give her an example of the love, the unity, everything that surrounds us. I'm going to trade her this. She doesn't have to give me anything in return, but there's an intention behind it, and it's individualized. It's an experience to welcome them and make them feel part of the community. This specific aspect is what stirred a lot of the initial backlash on her videos, as the kits appeared to be feeding a more commercialized and loveless form of overconsumption to buy as many plastic toys as possible just to give them to strangers, a new development of plur culture that is leading to an insane amount of litter at events and turning what was originally a trade of love and creativity into a competition of meaningless attention and numbers. In my original review, I started by sharing Alyssalen's comments about what is included in her kits, that she made in response to people calling it cheap plastic junk. In addition to claiming that 70% of the kits are handmade, she also mentioned that there is $20 worth of stickers. Here's the list on her website at the time of the items that can be included in the kits. Stickers and other cheap items are noticeably missing, which was interesting. I'll let the rest of the video play out here alongside the examples and prices that I provided for each item. When my followers tag me, what they are looking for is a brief comparison of retail pricing compared to her resale prices. Basically, what you could purchase these items for yourself without going through a wholesale manufacturer that provides thousands of them at cheaper costs. Obviously, Alyssalen is not buying these items individually at the dollar store or in small amounts. She will be getting them for much cheaper from a wholesaler. The order shown in this first review was a small rave kit, which the customer paid roughly $46 plus shipping for. The majority of the video thus far is what people were calling cheap toys that you get from the dentist or from a teacher's dollar store prize box. We then move on to her essentials kit, which includes similar dollar store items that could be useful in a rave environment. This glitter caused some uproar from some commenters who were disgusted by the constant opening of the products and the handling of the applicators with bare hands before she shipped them out to the customers. Finally, more than halfway through the video, we begin to see some handmade items. These perlers are common in the plur scene as they're adorable and easy to make in bulk for trading. The ones shown in this video are specifically from this artist on Etsy, although she does not credit them. Calculating the item prices becomes difficult here because artists deserve to charge whatever they want for the items that they make, but customers shouldn't have the box price inflated as a result of including one handmade perler butterfly. There was also a lot of debate in the comments about whether buying these pre-made candy and perlers from stores defeats the purpose of creating your own items with the intention of plur trading. Here comes the bigger issue. These pins are stolen art. A huge issue with buying these items from Amazon and AliExpress is the potential that they're being mass-produced using designs or molds from smaller artists without credit. People had been commenting about this on her videos for a long time, but she only addressed the art theft after I mentioned it in my reviews. We'll talk more on that later. Now, we have the candy bracelets. All points I made earlier in the video about perler art apply here too. I'm really curious what you guys think. Does buying pre-made candy defeat the purpose and intentions of plur trading? There is a great argument for accessibility here, but if any artistically capable person is buying these to mass trade with artists instead of just making their own with the intention of trading, would you feel like it's less valid? I personally think it's great to buy from these small artists if you love their design, want a specific one for yourself, or just trade with your friends, but getting random ones in an order with no credit to the artist entirely defeats that purpose. As we come to the end of this first order packaging video, it's glaringly obvious that the statements made about 70% handmade were flimsy, if not absolute bullshit. What happened to the intention of supporting small artists? Not to mention, where are the stickers that were promised in a previous video? My final comment was that although the idea is cute, the execution was horrible, and I didn't see any reason for people to buy these for a rave. My main piece of advice was the noticeable lack of any personal safety or harm reduction items. Raves are notorious for illicit drug usage, and similar sellers I had seen at the time were including information sheets or items that could be used to combat the risks most commonly seen at these events. I thought it was an amazing idea, as most people looking for rave essentials are wanting items to maintain hygiene, help themselves or others when faced with common situations like dehydration, injury, or even scarier ones like overdose and spiking. Following this initial review, Alyssa Lynn made a few statements addressing the stolen art and saying that she was unaware of it despite countless comments spanning multiple months informing her. She also contacted me, but due to the years that have passed since my original video and her deleting literally all of the messages, I only have a few surviving screenshots and recordings to show you guys. I'll give a brief explanation of my memory of the conversation, but again, I have very little proof of it actually happening, so feel free to remove this part from your judgment if you find my own account unreliable. Alyssa Lynn went out of her way to track down and message my personal Instagram account despite it not being connected to my TikTok at all at this time. It seems her preferred method of contact is to send voice messages, and then as soon as I reply and confirm that they were heard, she deletes them. That was weird, but anyways, she messaged me addressing my original video saying this.
Hey there, it's me, the small business that you recently made a video about, and I just think person to person, human to human, that it'd be cool if we discussed what you're promoting on your account in regards to my content and my business, because you're making a lot of false claims that can really affect people's small business and the way that we market things. And I have made response videos debunking basically every single thing and every comment that's been made.
I had to scroll back so far on iCloud storage of an old iPhone to find these, so I'm sorry, there's not much. But from my memory, she mentioned the stolen art, saying it was a mistake, and insulted my account and views for literally no reason. Obviously, there was a lot more said that I didn't catch clips of, as she was deleting them pretty much the second that I replied. As soon as I caught on to this, I started recording, but obviously I missed a huge chunk of the conversation. It was essentially just a spam of multiple voice messages along the lines of, I know you get 0 views when you don't post about me, you don't know what you're talking about.
Opportunity for growth, because I know that that video performed really well for you. I know that your numbers haven't been amazing lately, and creator to creator, I just can't help but see an opportunity for evolution here in the way that you could turn this around.
You're kind of tarnishing my brand and my name and the goal of what I'm trying to curate here. And I understand if you're not part of the Rave community and you don't understand what I have going on, but to put this kind of claim and disrespect towards my business can really affect you. You don't have to take your video down. Any marketing is great marketing, right? And I'm confident in all the content that I posted and promoted. And I trust that the people who see what I'm doing and are part of my community and want to support me and my business, they're gonna see all my numbers, they're gonna see all the businesses that I support, and they're gonna continue to buy from me. Orders are still coming in. That's not up. You can delete it. But I do think that you should educate yourself and be aware of the claims that you're making, and at the very least take my responses into consideration and perhaps educate your audience as well. Because I do not appreciate being clumped with the other dropshipping scams and business models in your post. I'm an individual, and I think that we could even level on this and just have an actual human to human conversation. And I'm willing to be fully transparent with you about.
She eventually suggested that I order a Rave Kit and review it myself, saying that I had no right to speak on her and actually wasn't allowed to speak on her until I physically got a Rave Kit myself and reviewed it. I obviously said no, as her behavior thus far made me extremely uncomfortable. It was giving like high school bully, and I wasn't about to send my address to somebody who was using such a belittling and hostile tone. She then proceeded to heavily repeat a sentiment that just doesn't sit right with me. I remember her saying this so many times, stressing the fact that she doesn't buy from China and implying that anything that's made or purchased in China is low quality and a disgusted tone.
I'm a small personal business that doesn't make very much profit off these because I don't source anything from China.
To be quite honest, it was giving xenophobia. I remember at the time I called her out. I pulled her up on this and I said, hey, the way you're talking about this, the way you're mentioning China as if it's this like disgusting hellhole that only produces junk is weird. You might want to do like a little bit of research there. And not only did I never mention China in my original review, her whole idea and stereotype that the entirety of China is some disgusting factory that makes cheap junk that falls apart was just not, I didn't like it, you know? It was weird as fuck. I have literally zero problem with sellers sourcing their products from China. While the laws surrounding animal testing and situations of worker mistreatment are kind of shaky over there, it's very easy to research and ensure that you're sourcing and providing great quality items. With all that aside, she did confirm that her items were from Amazon, and even had an Amazon list in her links at some point, including the eye gems and other products. It goes without saying, but Amazon literally sources from China. A majority of sellers on there are the same manufacturers that retail on sites like AliExpress and Alibaba, as Amazon is just another storefront for them to list the same products. She went on to stress her intentions of working with small artists, despite the current kit only featuring 2, without credit in any of the videos. After this conversation, I stopped posting about her, not because she said I wasn't allowed to, but because I really just didn't have anything to say anymore. Until she showed up on my For You page a few months later with new and improved Rave Kits. In some previous posts, she had claimed that the new and improved kits would include a small bag of junk items, with the rest being handmade. I thought this would be a great opportunity to review the evolution and see if the kits had improved from all the disappointed comments and customers' advice. In this second review, the kit was roughly $62, with extra paid for the essentials and filming the packaging video. At the beginning of this review, I pointed out that many of her previous videos were clearly showing the customers' addresses for literally no reason. We start with the candy, and finally, the stickers that were promised. I was impressed to see her finally crediting an artist in her videos. Already, the amount of cheap trinkets is huge, much bigger than the small bag that was shown in previous videos, but there is also a nice amount of handmade goodies, so I can't complain about that too much. She's still selling the pins, despite addressing them in a video. Weird. While these kits were better, my review was still low. There was still zero transparency about the quality, lies about the amount of handmade items included in a kit, and the only real difference was it being more expensive now. At the end, I included a small list of commenters' biggest concerns surrounding the kits, suggesting that they could be used as a reference to improve the quality and receive less hate. I added a tick or a cross to see if any of them had been fixed in the new and improved kits. But wait, she actually does take some of this advice. It's crazy, okay? But believe me. Things fell silent again for a while until she posted some more expensive kits and people tagged me to review it. This specific order was $444 and the video was insanely long. Here's a quick summary. There's a decent amount of handmade candy and perlers here, which I calculated using the artist's own pricing I was able to find, as she had finally credited them on her website. There are then Amazon, AliExpress notebooks, glitter, fans, and other accessories. A super cool artist-made light necklace. I'm low-key obsessed with this. A blanket print of her own art, some shitty chipped plastic glosses from AliExpress, a lot more cheap trinkets, a t-shirt from a small artist, some stickers, etc. And finally, harm reduction! Even though it was just an information card, I was literally ecstatic to see this and so glad to see her finally take constructive criticism. This kit actually ended up being great value for the customer when calculating the artist's prices, and was finally a positive review. There was no stolen art, the ratio of plastic goodies seemed more like a bonus than bulk filler for the box. Thank God! Unfortunately, this did not last long. About a month ago, I decided to check on her account again just to see how the kits had evolved. And dear Lord, were they worse. So much worse. In addition to her changing her content to these extremely long, gap-filled videos with little focus on the actual items, the kits themselves had fallen back into being a literal plastic landfill and majority useless. I won't include the full clip here as it's actually excruciating to watch. I understand that some people like to watch a 10-20 minute video of somebody just rambling as background noise. I mean, that's what a lot of you guys are doing right now. But trust me when I say, I had to edit it to 10 times speed for my TikTok review and it was still so hard to sit through. The kits are now $155 base price with additional charges for added essentials, harm reduction, etc. In short, it included an Amazon pashmina, glosses, a fan with her art on it, some self-care items like lip balm, etc., candy, perlers, many of which without the artist named or credited, and then a stomach-turning amount of plastic junk. The main focus of these kits seems to be the Mini Buddy Scoops, which are these bulk-sold plastic animals from AliExpress, which she also sells individually for $15 per small scoop, despite a 100 pack of them being sold for $3 on AliExpress. She thankfully includes harm reduction, but it appears these are now an additional kit that buyers must pay for. It includes test strips and information sheets like those that are given out for free at a doctor's office or the informational tents at raves. She now includes a trinket of the month, which is currently an Amazon keychain with a stolen design, but it changes every month. In this video, I also focused on the cosmetics, researching their origins and finding that 3 of the suppliers had links to animal testing and other cruelty-based practices. Obviously, this one was no longer a positive review. The item worth had tanked again and the quality was, frankly, fucking horrible. I was extremely disappointed to see her fall back into these easy and shady practices, as even a little bit of research and effort clearly went such a long way, as shown in the earlier positive reviews. But I guess if the orders keep coming in, she will do whatever it takes to cut corners and maximize earnings. What do you guys think about these kits? I would love to hear opinions from ravers as well as non-ravers in the comments who have no experience with the scene at all. Would you buy these? Can you see the appeal? What kind of advice would you give to evolve the kit into something that people would actually like to purchase? With that being said, thank you so much for all the recent love on my channel. I gained 4,000 subscribers literally overnight, and I'm terrified. I would like to say that I feel blessed, but honestly, I'm scared. Feel free to stick around if you love my videos, and just honestly, thank you for being here. I will see you guys hopefully next week. Mwah.